you move, you need a reliable company led by passionate folks, eager to assist its customers during a transitional process that needs to be smooth. Call Essential Moving Experts at 844-368-5750 for all your local and long-distance moving needs. You can rely on Essential Moving Experts. Mention the Big O Show and get $150 off. Family owned and operated, they offer free 30-day storage, full-service moving, fully licensed, bonded, and insured. Moving was never so easy. EssentialMovingExperts.com.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at Caneswear.com or InnerMiamiWear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where Inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
The viewpoints, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyAccess.com, Media Group Inc., ownership, management, sponsors, or website. The Hurricanes game is over. Time to break it down. It's all about the U. The Edge Energy Drink Miami Hurricanes Postgame Show has made landfall. The postgame show is on the SportsTalk305 Network and broadcasting live from Walk-On Sports Bistro in Kendall. The show is mastered by Sean Stanley and Chad Shobe. Visit Walk-On Sports Bistro in Kendall at 9065 Southwest 162nd Avenue. Enjoy Walk-On's authentic and mouth-watering Louisiana cuisine prepared fresh from scratch. Closes daily at midnight 7 days a week. Here's your hosts, Orlando Alzugaray and Mike McCoy.
The Miami Hurricanes postgame show on the platform is on the air. Yes, our Edge Energy Drink Miami Hurricanes postgame show brought to you by Walk-Ons. We are out here at Walk-Ons in Kendall. What are you pointing at now, Sean? What happened? Another interception by Jake Garcia. Damn it. Wow. All right, so what's going to happen is we're going to count, did Jake Garcia throw more interceptions during our postgame show than during the actual game itself? So ugly performance by the Canes today. I got to tell you something. I'm at a point now where I feel terrible for Mario Cristobal. Yeah. Because he obviously inherited something that is just, and listen, here's where I've had this problem with college recruiting for whatever years. I don't care if it's Magic Benton. I don't care if it's Willie Williams. I don't care who it is over the years, Kyle Wright or whoever you want. Guys that come in and they're ranked like they're like the second coming and they don't end up ever living up to it. And you idiots out there end up, he's a 4 or 5 star guy. None of it means anything until they actually take the field and perform. And I got to tell you something, Jake Garcia, that does not look like a guy that can be a quarterback at this level. The interceptions he threw were, I couldn't explain them. The level of the level of stupidity in those interceptions is disturbing, put it that way. That's the way I've got to phrase what I saw from Jake Garcia. Jake Garcia looks to me right now at this moment like a guy you could never, ever trust in a game. He's a turnover machine. He looks like a dude that'll panic at the first sight of whatever goes on. It's crazy. I mean, there was some bad his stat line today, 13 of 21, 198 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions.
And that was in two quarters?
Yeah, 2 quarters.
Because when did TVD go out? Third quarter?
Yeah, early third, I think he got knocked out. Something like that.
And then the thing is, he's going to start next week,
I would never start Jake Garcia again until next year.
That's our starter next week. Because I know I'm knee-jerking, but that shoulder injury did not look good.
No, yeah, TVD's done.
So saying that, nothing has been announced, and there's nothing official. This is your unofficial Mike McCoy injury report.
But you did sleep at a Holiday Inn last night, right?
But I did, and I had a Snickers before the show.
So then you're set.
So
that's it. Everything's official.
Yeah, that injury to TVD's throwing shoulder did not look favorable.
He's probably done for a while. He's definitely done for next week. I mean, there's no way that guy comes back, and it was a throwing shoulder,
right?
Which is, I just hope it's nothing serious for TVD. But I think we all saw an amazing drop-off between the two guys.
And the thing is Miami was in this game before those turnovers, those 3 interceptions. Because let me clarify, not before those turnovers, because Miami turned the ball over all game. All right, the Duke's first 17 points were off of turnovers.
Bro,
they had
8
short
turnovers
fields.
today. 8 turnovers
in the game. In the
8
game,
turnovers.
man. That's ridiculous. That's, and we said it before the game. You cannot turn the ball over against anybody, especially a solid Duke team, which they proved to be. Look, Mike Elko got his revenge. His revenge.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not looking promising for Miami right now. A week ago, you were hoping to build on things, and then you come out, Keyshawn Smith fumble on the kickoff. Jalen Knighton again. That's a guy that probably you need to sit down for a little bit, because this is his third that I can remember, third fumble on the season that was a big deal that ended up, being a factor in the game, because Duke scored off of that turnover. And then, there were no penalties, significant penalty yardage this week. But
3 for 30. 3 for 30. You fixed what you did last week, but then you did something else, which is worse.
That's disgusting. And so, if there's no semblance of a running game next week, Miami's in trouble. Because you saw that Jake Garcia seems to be, I don't know what word to use.
Gift, I think, what I gave you at the beginning of the game, Duke plus 10. There's the word you use, gift. We gave you a gift right before. We gave a lot of gifts out today here. And we also gave you Duke plus 10.
Oh, man. And the thing about this game,
unlike my co-host who picked Miami plus 11, right?
I think was his... Listen, and I know you can't go back. Oh, if my uncle had, if my aunt had whatever, she'd be my uncle.
Yes.
But listen, even with those first half turnovers, you saw how quick Miami scored in the second half. They scored 2 touchdowns in like a minute. And at that point, you were thinking, oh, more Mil Mallory. Okay, cool, great. Jake Garcia's looking good.
Yeah.
And then the interceptions came. And then the inability, that drive that Duke had for 9 minutes was a killer. Because not only was it 9 minutes of the third quarter, but they had 2 key third down conversions on that drive. And one of them was like 3rd and forever.
Excuse me. They were 3rd and 13 on the Duke 18. And Leonard to Waters for a first down. They were 3rd and 2 from the Duke 45. Jacques gets 2 yards for them. They were 4th and 9 from the Miami 39. Leonard to Eli for 21. They were 3rd and 3 from the Miami 11. Leonard for 6 yards. They were 4th and goal from the Miami 2. Leonard to the Nicky kid for a 2-yard touchdown. They converted 5 third and 4th down conversions in that same drive. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4.
Okay, LeBron.
5.
Okay, LeBron. I get it.
5 in one drive, dude.
No, you don't. That's not winning football,
bro.
That's not winning football. You say this. There's no excusing it. There's no covering it up, and it's. I don't know what to call it. It's really frustrating. Those are money downs that you got to have. I could see the 3rd and 2 maybe, but 3rd and 19. You said, like I know you're passing the ball.
3rd and 13 and 4th and 9 were the long ones. Out of all that,
no, man,
on the 3rd and 13, they got 18. They got 19 yards. That's where you got the 19. On the 4th and 9, they ended up getting 21.
That was a backbreaker drive from Miami, because that put them down. I think that made it 24-21 that drive, and then Duke goes up another touchdown after maybe an interception to go up by 10. But that was but Miami was still in it. Miami was still in it at that point, and that's what makes it frustrating. But those turnovers, and then it seemed like everything fell apart at the same time, because the pass protection was no more. The interceptions came about. Then all of a sudden, Miami forgot to tackle again.
Right.
They've been solid solid, B minus, I say, grading them throughout the season, maybe a B in terms of tackling. But then everything came apart. Like I said, the tackling, the interceptions, the inability to get off the field on third downs, the pass protection issues. It was a really bad loss. I'm going to call it a bad loss, even though Duke was a solid team.
It was a disgusting loss, bro. You got outrushed 200 to 48.
Wow.
Duke rushed for 200 yards, and Miami 48. How many attempts? I'll tell you right now on the attempts, 42 for 200. So the Miami one is 31 for 48. 31 times they ran. Henry Parrish ran 11 for 63. You take away Henry Parrish's 11 for 63.
And you're in the negative.
You know why? Garcia and Van Dyke each had negative 25 yards in sacks. They were negative 50 along with their quarterbacks. Okay?
And by the way, I was wrong in the preseason, in the pregame show.
Yes, sir.
Ja'Kai Clark did not start. So Jonathan Dennis, who went out with what seems to be a significant lower extremity injury, okay, he got hurt. So Ja'Kai Clark was available as an emergency center. He came in relief duty, and then on to his right, the right guard, it was who started on the right guard? I forgot. But it was two backups again to start the game on the offensive line, and that's going to be the case next week.
Yeah, yep. One guy says too many turnovers and the defense lost this game.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna. I gotta blame the offense first, then the defense because of all the turnovers in the short fields.
Yeah.
Every time Duke was getting it, they had 20 yards to go for a touchdown.
Now you could say
you can't do that to the defense too. You know what I'm saying? So
you could say in the second half, Duke did a better job offensively, and then Miami's defense. Okay, you could give them that blame, but in the first half, the defense was playing great.
Yeah, they did.
The
defense
defense was
was
playing great.
Yeah, it gets demoralizing at one point when your offense continues to turn over the ball, and then you're giving Duke easy scores. As a defense, it does, and then your quarterback goes out there and he's just like maybe his name should be Oprah Garcia. You can have an interception, and you can have an interception, and you can have an interception. I don't know. Maybe we should call him Oprah instead of Jake.
He, a lot like TVD, they're going to start him next week because you don't bench him for Curry. Like, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. I know what you want.
I get what you're saying, but if you start Jake Garcia, you're basically waving the white flag, and you're telling your team you got no shot almost because, dude, how do you explain those interceptions in the film room?
And I'm not defending him.
So that's what I'm saying. The rest of the team is going to get demoralized if you put a guy in there that's a turnover machine.
So what are you telling your team?
You're right. Listen, in the end, you're right. He's probably going to start, but it's got to be an incredibly short leash on the guy.
Oh, yeah. I don't blame that.
Because you saw him come apart today.
I don't blame that. But on the flip, let's just say you start Ja'Cory, right? Or Ja'Cory Brown.
And then he sucks, and then you got to go back. Yeah.
Right.
But I got you. But by the way, is Ja'Cory their guy? Or was he here? Now I don't know.
Who? What do you mean?
Ja'Cory. Did Mario bring him in or was he here already?
No, Mario he was already committed, yes. By the time Mario took over, he was already committed.
No, I'm kind of holding out hope that the guys that Mario bring in. I'm just saying, dude, the better players are the ones that Mario. Look at Kobe. We can't talk about his day because the team ruined it.
Yeah. And Mallory, too, had a nice outing.
Right. You have some things that you're developing, right? And we can't brag about them because the disaster of a game.
For the second consecutive week, Kobe Young goes over the 100-yard mark, and it goes for nothing.
He looked great.
It looks for nothing. The guy looks right now like an Andre Johnson clone, at least physically, okay? I don't know about his speed compared to Andre Johnson because Andre Johnson was amazing speed-wise.
Ultimate
Kobe
freak.
Young is wide receiver 1.
Yeah.
And then X comes back, I'm trying to breathe life into the fan base right now, but I'm reaching at straws, it feels like, because I'm thinking, TVD, oh my God, he's found something with Kobe Young, great. And he already has chemistry with X, so when he comes back, that's going to be great. But it's not going to mean anything if Miami has 3 or 4. You already have 4 losses.
Oh, no, yeah. You talked about this while we were in the middle of the fourth quarter. We now have to wonder, can this team even make a bowl game now?
We're 7 games through the season, and Miami has 3 wins. It's a conversation to be had.
No. No. You're 1,000% right, dude. It's something. It's hell. They don't look like a bowl team right now. No, and let me tell you something, dude. If TVD is done, they're done.
I hate to agree with you because, and look, this is me reaching at straws. Disclaimer, okay?
He had the Canes by 11.
But hopefully this was just, that first, and it wasn't a start, but first significant time for TVD. And maybe, guys, I'm not making excuses. Maybe that has something to do with it. And maybe he gets the cobwebs out next week for a bad Virginia team, hopefully. But I don't know. The rest of the season goes like this. On the road at Charlottesville to face the Cavaliers next week. At home for homecoming against FSU on November the 5th. At Georgia Tech, followed by at Clemson. And you close out home versus Pitt. You're talking about
well, they're losing probably 2 games. Clemson and probably FSU. There's a good chance they'll lose FSU. Now, definitely Clemson, they're not even sniffing in that game. FSU. And then the other, can they winning the other 3?
So Pitt is going to be tough. A Pat Narduzzi coach team is always a tough team.
Yeah.
And it is at home, but that doesn't mean anything. You got to worry about Virginia because you're worried about, Virginia Tech.
Everybody.
Yeah. And Georgia Tech has even looked a little bit better than a lot of people thought in the preseason. But, yeah, man, you got to start wondering about bowl games. And that's really, I want to curse, but that's terrible.
It's bad for Mario, too.
And that's what's pissing me off.
That doesn't help Mario.
It doesn't help Mario. It doesn't help recruiting. And we'll see what, if we are able to talk to Gabby anytime soon. And, again, for those of you that missed it in the pregame that were expecting him, happy, fatherhood to him. He's a father, so he's going to be away for a little bit. But at some point, you got to wonder what recruits are looking at and thinking. Maybe they look at it as, look at the mistakes Miami's having. They're very fixable. I could be that guy. Or they're looking at it as, it's a dumpster fire. I don't want nothing to get. I don't want to get 10 feet within. And
I would be afraid of the latter.
Yeah, you have to.
With some of these fair-weathered kids. Because they see if it's so bad, it's like, yo, dude, I'm not going to bail this place up by myself, or even me or another couple guys or whatever. No, let me go somewhere where they're already winning and I can be a part of the winning. That attitude of I'm the guy that's going to turn the program around, boy, you better go find those kind of guys because those are the kind of guys you need.
What I will say is Mario was a big recruiter in a bunch of guys or with a bunch of guys that had that mentality because Mario was a recruiter on that staff with Butch who recruited a bunch of guys that were the cure.
You are correct.
So that's a little hope for guys that are wondering about the recruiting trail. Listen, Mario, that's one thing he does not he doesn't strike out in the recruiting trail. So, but yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games. No, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 5 games left. Miami has 3. Miami has to win Miami has 3 wins. Miami has to win 3 of the next 5 games to become bowl eligible.
Yep. And Leon Fresco chimes in with a super chat. Thank you, sir. He says, "A Lenny, baby. Thank you, O. Took Duke and money line." Wow. I didn't tell you to take Duke money line, but I did say Duke plus 10.
I'm going to be nosy.
The money line for Duke was plus 300. So he bet 100, he won 300. Way to go, Leon. That's ballsy, dude. You took the money line. Because I thought the Canes would eke an ugly win. Remember I told you that?
Yeah.
I thought they would eke out an ugly win. There was no way I thought they would win by 10 or more. So to me, that was an easy bet. But the fact that they got their asses kicked in this game and they got routed because they made all those mistakes. Yeah, that part, that surprised the hell out of me. 8 turnovers, bro.
The part that concerns me the most, the turnovers, yes, they stick out, but the fact that everything fell apart at the same time, okay? It seems like TVD goes out with an injury. Jake wasn't immediately terrible. Remember, he threw that touchdown to Kobe Young, okay?
Right.
But then the interceptions came, the pass protection issues came. What else came? It all came apart. The defense stopped tackling.
Yeah.
And I don't understand. It's just definitely a step back. You saw how pissed off Mario looked on the sidelines. I'm wondering what it's going to be like in that locker room. It's going to be a tough week, that's to say the least. And it's probably time it's been time, but you're probably going to see more of a youth infusion.
You have to, dude. It's not, if you're not winning with the established guys, and then here's the other thing you got to think of, Mike. Your Mario and your staff, you got to start looking at, okay, who are the guys we're happy with and we're going to build on?
Yeah.
Who are the guys we don't want to build on? Okay, well, then if we got a young guy, then, hey, time to use his red shirt and let's get him in there. So I guess that's the key right now is it worth wasting the red shirt for the rest of the year for playing time purposes to get him experience and get him ready for next year?
I think it is, because you want to make a bowl. You have to make a bowl. This was not a non-bowl eligible team. And
I think you're right.
In the chat, in the chat, really quick, thanks for participating, Stephen Rowe. I'm going to have to respectfully disagree that you said, Jake, I'm sorry, Mario's looking sketchy. I can't say that because look at the guys that are making plays. Those are Mario guys. And, I mean, look.
Well, wait a minute. You got to, I think what he's saying is last week you got a shit ton of turnovers. I mean, penalties.
Right.
This week you got a crap ton of turnovers.
Right.
So people will look at your coaching staff and say, well, your guys are unprepared. Even if they're not good enough, you can't have them beat themselves. And so when teams are beating themselves, guess who they're blaming?
Oh, I think that's lazy, though. I think that's an easy.
But that's kind of the MO.
And then look, Keyshawn fumbling is on Mario. Rooster fumbling is on Mario. Respect your opinion. I just disagree with it.
I will say it's on Mario.
Why?
Why is Rooster playing? How many more mistakes do you have to make?
Well, look, we didn't even see Thad today, which was weird. So I'm wondering what happened there. I don't know what happened there. But
he wasn't injured. They didn't say he was injured.
No, they didn't. That's what I'm saying. I wonder what happened there.
So you got to admit, it's bad coaching to keep playing the Rooster.
Okay, but let's say this.
Right?
Was it bad coaching keeping TVD in when he was struggling?
No. Because he wasn't really struggling the entire time. I mean, guys were dropping passes.
And he was missing guys too.
Of course, because there were some frustrations with all of this. And then your coach wasn't helping you in the offense he was running. All of those things. And then once you adjusted and you played some of the young guys, all of a sudden he looked good. So it's not him. But when I look at the Rooster, bro, I blame you, Rooster. I'm not blaming Mario, but I have to go to Mario and the staff and say, why do you keep playing a guy that keeps making mistakes?
And look.
And that's why I told you about Jake. You're right that probably they'll start with Jake next week, but it's got to be what I said, like a super short leash. Like somebody's got to look at Jake and say, this shit is...
What the hell was that
This
throw?
shit here on film you put, this is unacceptable.
Yeah.
If there's any signs of this, you're done.
No, I agree with that.
You know what I'm saying?
That interception he threw on the left sideline, there was like 3 Duke jerseys there. The pick 6.
So if you keep playing people that aren't getting the job done, I blame you there. And you have other running backs. You don't have to play the Rooster. The Rooster needs to learn a lesson and sit down for a couple games and kind of get pissed off about it and brew. And then maybe it motivates him to concentrate on doing his job. But I got to tell you something. That's where I would lay it on Mario. I would not play the Rooster at all.
You want to know why?
And by the way, did I not tell you before this all started, when we saw him, I said, why is he playing still? Did I not say that?
That's 3 fumbles that I can think of that were big time. And I don't think that you got cursed out, Miami kid, because I don't remember cursing on the air, but you were definitely wrong in knee-jerking saying what you said after the Texas A&M game, because it was Miami's first loss of the season, and Miami kicked their ass on their field. So you were definitely knee-jerking, which is a sign of an irresponsible fan.
They just couldn't finish that game. That was
Yeah.
that was our problem that day, that I had at least with it. That you and I were going back and forth. I said the yards don't mean anything if you can't finish the plays.
Yeah.
But they hung in there with Texas. They did everything except finish.
To say it was a sign of things to come, I think that's irresponsible and immature. And
in a way, you're still not finishing games. Player, he has some right to say that, because you while you put up yards, you didn't finish games, so you were incomplete. Last week, a whole bunch of penalties, incomplete. This week, a whole bunch of turnovers, incomplete. You get your ass kicked and handled by Middle Tennessee State, incomplete. There's a lot of things that you could go along throughout the year so far that you could say, yeah, these things were kind of coming apart. They have yet to put together a game where they played clean offensively and defensively, and everything was good. There's always some kind of an issue in every game.
Yeah, of course. If it's not one thing, it's the other. So my thing is, let me see it 2-3 times instead of knee-jerking.
We're 7 games in.
Right, and he said it after the Texas A&M game.
Well, you got to give him a little love for nailing it. He was right about it.
Nailing it.
He was right about it.
I think every dog has his day. So.
Well, yeah, but okay. Well, he had his day. He nailed it, because it's been an issue with them every single week. We got Mario. We got a pissed off Mario Cristobal. Let's go to it.
Don't know the severity of it. Sometime tonight or tomorrow. We'll see on tape. If someone stops playing hard, they got to go play somewhere else. What we got to do requires tough people. Turn a program and rebuild it requires tough-minded people that are willing to do the work. If that shows up on tape, got to find somewhere else. Some guys have played really well. Some guys have played hard. We'll go from there. Reality. It's not it. You know, we're improving our ability to practice, our capacity to practice better, whatnot, and we've talked some good stuff, and we've made some progress in certain areas, but that was regression. You know, and after a fast start and then in the second quarter, you know, taking a dive. The third quarter came out and played with some good passion, executed well, took the lead in the game. They came back, they drove, and they scored. And after that, a lot of sorts, you know, fumbles, ball security, huge point of emphasis. We've done everything we can. We've got to do more, because whatever we've done has not worked. We fumbled the ball. And then we gave up some pressures that provided or allowed them to get some sacks. Sometimes it's turning the protection that way. Sometimes they're bringing pressure away from the protection. Sometimes the ball's got to get out. Sometimes it's got to be picked up. It's a little bit of everything. But we got the quarterback hit, and we didn't establish the run game. You know, we're not knocking people back enough like we need to help the pass game. And we had made some progress on offense the last couple of weeks, and then it looked like we were going to get off to a strong start. We didn't, you know. And so you take complete responsibility as a head coach, as a program, you know, and I get it, you know, it's got to be real tough, you know. Unfortunately, you got to go through some painful steps, or we cause our own painful steps, extra painful steps that we don't need. So back to work. No, we started fast, you know. We started fast and thought that we could do it, you know. Some of the bodies down, you got to replace them with parts that aren't quite the same level, but that's ball, you know. In terms of putting the ball on the ground and ball security, no, because it's been such a huge point of emphasis. We felt we got good. We felt we were going to get good dividends today, but right away, right up 7-0 and driving, we put the ball on the ground. So. Had some good moments and had some others that weren't so good. So. either fix it or you get people that care and play as hard as you're supposed to as a Miami Hurricane. I don't think it's magical, I don't think it's appropriate also to say someone didn't play as hard because other teams make plays too. I think you have to look at the tape and thoroughly assess it, because there's nothing worse than saying someone didn't play hard when they played hard. Maybe they got run through and didn't tackle a guy. Maybe they weren't able to sustain a collision and get a guy to the ground. But the rest, most importantly of all the things, is understanding that when you go through something like this and you're rebuilding a program and you get hit in the face like this, that you got to be tough enough to look each other in the eye and stick together and go to work. It doesn't magically get better, okay? You've got to go to work, and that's the only focus. And that's the only thing we're going to do. You go right to the truth. You don't head fake it. I don't think at this point in time it's about morale. It's about reality. The best way to build good morale is to have success and performance, and the best way to do that is to go back to work and work on the things that need to get better. They're identified. There's some progress in some, but today regression showed up. That's the part that's disappointing, because a lot of stuff had shown up over the past couple of weeks that made us feel like we were going to have a positive performance today. I just felt that we had some good momentum going. They had just driven the length of the field as well, and felt that we had some good plays drawn up to make them pay, man coverage or where they were bringing pressure or sat back and played. So I felt good about the answers, and I felt good about being aggressive. Yeah.
You guys started out issues and then covered well in the third quarter, and then had those 4 in the fourth quarter. Is that just got kind of desperation attempts, a couple things that shake through and stuff? Is that more desperation that caused the turnovers, or was it just
We got to assess to see if there was just too much anxiety, just pressing too hard to try to make a play. Usually that, accompanies, performance dips or whatnot. And that could be it, right? The game starts going on and on. All of a sudden you see yourself, we built our own hole, and we just kept digging it deeper. We didn't do a good job coming out of it, but just very real with our approach, guys, But there's a lot of things we need to get a whole lot better at. There's moments here and there of stuff, but the work that we got to do and why we came here, we got to work, man. We got to do a lot of work, and we're going to do it. So, and you know what? When it turns, we'll look back on this as lessons. Right now, you got to eat it. You got to be a tough son of a gun. And if you're not, you know what? It ain't going to work. Mm-hmm. That? Wrap up, brother. Work it again and again and again and again and again and again until you can't get it wrong, right? And keep developing strength and conditioning. Make sure when you wrap up that you're clamped so tight that nothing's slipping out. Keep developing talent, keep recruiting talent so he could go in waves. And then when a backup comes in, he's playing just as hard or better than the guy that's in there before. Complete program development from top to bottom. That's what we're focused on. And unfortunately, it comes with some tough-ass days like today. All right.
There is the head coach of the Miami Hurricanes. And listen, Mario's got a big job ahead of him, man. And the part that sucks is you got to pull the scab. And sometimes when you pull the scab, you know what? The wound hasn't healed, and there's blood. And then you notice that you still have the wound. And so there'll be more blood, and there'll be another scab. There are those days where you pull the scab, and everything's clean and pink under it. And it's just that new layer of skin that's developing under you. And unfortunately, we're not there yet. We're at the point where you're tearing the scab off, and there's still blood. And it's ugly. And this is kind of the catch-22 of all of this. I've gone through this already the last couple of years with the idiots that, said Tua was too short, has a noodle arm, can't run a high-powered offense, all that. All those morons have disappeared, and they look stupid. And why? Because they weren't willing to wait for the young man and his hip to heal. I explained that he had no coaching. Eventually, his hip healed. He now has coaching, and now he excels when, of course, he can stay healthy, which, we all know that that's the next hurdle for him is getting rid of the football. But as a player, I think a lot of people have seen what's going on. Well, the same thing's going to happen here. There's going to be a lot of pain. It may not be a hip, but the program's broken. And the program needs rehab. And rehab doesn't happen in a week, doesn't happen in a month. And guess what? It doesn't happen probably in a season. So these 7 games are just kind of the start of the pain in the process of trying to turn this over. Now, wait, there's more. Okay? It's like when you're buying something, it's $19.99. But wait, there's more. We'll send you a second one. Okay? So you've got to wait and you've got to hang in there. That's the key. The payoff will be there. Now you're telling me, I waited for a payoff for Randy Shannon. I waited for a payoff for Al Golden. I've been waiting for a payoff for Manny Diaz. What tells me that Mario's going to pay you up? Well, guess what? Go look at Oregon. Did a pretty good job at Oregon, better than anything that Manny, Al Golden, or anybody else did before they got to Miami, correct? So the man knows how to build a program, but it will not happen overnight. And it's not going to happen in the first month or the second month of the season, and it's not going to happen this season. If you're smart enough and you have a high enough IQ, you can clearly see whatever the numbers that they recruited these players, and Jake Garcia is a perfect example. That's a guy that was here when Mario got here already. He apparently is a 4-star guy. So whatever the recruiting rankings were in the last 2, 3, 4 years, they were overrated. And that's because most of these rankings are bullshit as it is. You wait till you see the player on the field. Then you can freak out when they're actually playing. So, as we come back here, and sorry, Mike, that I went long on this.
No, you're good.
But I kind of have to explain that, yeah, dude, this sucks. Jake Garcia sucks. The turnovers suck. The 17 penalties last week suck. Their offensive line is not good enough. Their defense is not good enough. Their secondary is a joke. But that's not Mario's secondary. This is what he inherited. So we can only judge him by Colby. We can only judge him by Mesidor. We can only judge him by the guys that he's bringing in. And then are those guys making a difference? Oh, they are? Okay, so now we've got to wait for Mario to get more. Because you just don't have enough. So Canes fans, you've sucked for 20 years. Hang in there. You're going to suck for another year. Okay? That's the reality. And whether you like it or not, I don't want to hear any Mario bullshit. He's got to get fired, this, that. Mario's a hell of a coach. He's a hell of a recruiter. He's a hell of a human being, but he's only a human being. And it's going to take a while. He did not inherit a loaded program. He inherited a program that has all kinds of flaws. That's why they weren't putting any money into it. Now they're putting money into it. Now they've got a real coaching staff. Now they've got a deep recruiting base. Now they've got to go put it to action. Dude, they had a practice facility that was 80 yards because they were too cheap to make one that should be 120, maybe 140 yards. Should be another 10 yards after the end zones. So now they're going to build it the right way. Everything was done wrong before Mario got here. You don't repair this overnight. This is a painful loss. This is a painful season. And I know everyone's asked you for patience throughout all these tenures. You got to hang in there a little bit more. And in the end, you don't have a choice. You're not going to fire Mario because you can't. So they're not going anywhere. You just got to give them some time. Sorry, Mike.
No, listen, you're it's fine. My thing is, it just bugs me when people get on the staff as well, because I know good and well you were happy and you were celebrating when these names started trickling out little by little. people don't realize there are 3 former head coaches on this staff. Kevin Steele was a head coach over at Baylor. Charlie Strong was a head coach. You remember what he
Florida, USF.
did. Yeah, I think Louisville at one. Was it
Louisville, too. Yes.
Louisville.
Yes.
And I'm missing one. At least I thought it was
No,
missing.
USF, right? Texas.
Charlie Strong was at Texas, yeah.
But I don't know if he was
maybe 2. So there's 3 guys.
He was a defensive coordinator there. I don't think he was the head coach at Texas.
He was the head coach at Texas. He was.
Are
he
you
got
sure?
fired. He got fired. Charlie Strong was head coach at Texas. 100%.
Really? Okay.
100%.
I thought he was the D coordinator.
He probably was there at some point, but I do know for sure he was a head coach over at the Longhorns. Got fired, I think, after an Oklahoma game, maybe. But Josh Gaddis, everybody knows what he did last year, and I know want to take his he's taking his lumps because of what the offense did in the red zone earlier this season. Mirabal, top 3 O-line coach and O-line recruiter in the country. Joe Salavea, guy played in the NFL with Sean Taylor. He's a trenches guy. He's a D-line coach. Jamil Adai only coached the Georgia Bulldogs secondary last year, which you cannot compare the talent to a Miami secondary this year. All right, Kevin Smith, hell of a running back in college, run over 2,000 yards with UCF. Had a cup of tea over in the NFL with the Lions. Was recruiting in the SEC with Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin. Rod Wright.
By the way, you're right. Texas, 2014 through 16.
Yeah.
South Florida, 17 through 19.
Mm-hmm.
Louisville, 10 through 13. And I forgot this. He was Florida's interim head coach in 2004.
He took a Louisville team and beat the brakes off the Gators in the Sugar Bowl.
I remember that.
With Teddy Bridgewater.
Yep.
Kicked their ass. And so, this staff is and remember, oh, by the way, there's 2 Hall of Famers, 2 NFL Hall of Famers coaching the defense. Just to throw that in there, all right? And one of those NFL Hall of Famers has his hand in the D-line, which is a reason that Mesidor is looking the way he is. So it's not the staff as much as, people like to put on. I think it's the lowest hanging fruits, easy, all right, to pick. When coaches play, players play. Coaches coach, players play. That's how I look at it. Now, I'm not blind to say the coaches are completely clean and their hands are clean, because there are some instances I'm like, what the hell kind of play was that, right? Why is he on the field?
Well, you know what? I'll give you something like that bothered me a little bit in the Mario press conference, and I'll be fair. As much as I like Mario and as much as I'm supporting Mario and all of that, he said they're practicing better. And then I don't see the results. And, leading up to the season, the media and folks didn't have any access. And in those couple weeks leading up to the season, everybody was talking about the receivers. Oh, no, we cleaned up some of that stuff. We're looking better. And they weren't looking better. And so either you're blowing smoke up our asses or you're not doing a good job of assessing practice. One of the two, and I'm gonna go with blowing smoke up asses here, because you can't tell me you're practicing better and I'm watching you commit all kinds of penalties last week and 8 turnovers here. Don't tell me you're practicing better.
Well, the thing is
you're
like
3 and 4. You're not practicing better.
The thing is, 1 week something's fixed. You go into the next week thinking it's fixed, and then it's not. So it's like, what the hell's going? Again, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. You don't know what to expect from this team, and that is frustrating.
I love when Michelle Kaufman asked about assessing Jake Garcia's play. Said,
"Oh man,
he had some good moments and not so good moments."
Yeah,
and that's
again,
it.
The other thing you don't want to do is throw players under the bus.
And he won't do that. He won't do that. That's why I'm telling you that. I think he was blowing smoke up our asses when he's telling us, "Oh no, we've corrected some issues the last 2 weeks leading up to the season." And no, you haven't. We're practicing better. I guess he doesn't want to say, "Well, we've been practicing like crap the last couple of weeks. That's why we play like crap."
Which, look, you can see some things with your own eyes, right? So again, I think the biggest question next week is, where do you go with Jake? How do you? Because I'll tell you one thing: if this run game is not halfway decent, it's going to be a long week.
Yep.
It's going to be a long week. I don't care who it is, Virginia, Commonwealth, doesn't matter. It's going to be a long week if you're one-dimensional. And you saw what Jake was. Mind you, I love Jake. It's hard for me. I'm not one of those guys.
I got no love for Jake now. I'm done with
It's
him.
just hard for me to downplay guys like that.
Oof.
But listen, I
Bad.
don't know what he was throwing at on that interception. It could have been miscommunication, yes, but still, there were 3 white jerseys on that pick 6 where there was only 1 orange jersey. And I'm thinking, yeah, it could have been miscommunication, but damn. Again, I'll have to go back and look at it. I'm not a quarterback. I don't know what the call was. I don't know what they saw. I don't know what the defense was. But Miami, they got to make a bowl game, They got to make a bowl game.
Well, Leon Fresco brings up an interesting point. He says, that is a speech you give to fans after losing to Clemson, not after losing to Duke with the first-year head coach at home and not losing to Middle Tennessee State at home. Leon, you are right to a certain extent, and then you're wrong to a certain extent. I understand what you're saying in general, but it shows you how bad the program is. I mean, Mario with a lesser Oregon team beat Ohio State last year. So it's not like he can't coach players up. Problem is, you got a lot of the wrong people in that building. It's not talent.
No, it's a mental thing.
It's people. You have the wrong. Why do you think he keeps talking about mentally tough in all of his press conferences? Because it's something that he must be reiterating behind the scenes, and it must be caving in constantly, and he must be frustrated that, guys don't play like Akeem Mesidor on every play. And so that's what he's looking for. He's looking for the guys that are going to play like maniacs on every down, that are going to give it all on every down. And the problem is Miami did not recruit those kind of players the last couple of years. So this is why you get you get your ass handed to you by Middle Tennessee State, and this is why you're not good enough to beat Duke, because the players you have do not have the attitude and the character to fight through the ups and downs of a season. Leon, we are talking about a team that had players that would celebrate crappy wins against bad teams, and they would be dancing on the sidelines while they're losing. Those are the kind of players that the University of Miami has been recruiting since Mario got here. So I believe Mario has cancer in the program, and he has to,
Eradicate.
find a way to radiate the bitch out of there. And it's going to take a lot more than 7 games. It's probably going to take 2 seasons, is what I'm guessing. This season and next to flush everything out. Now, I don't believe that next season you'll be as bad as this season. You have to see improvement, but I don't think it's where you want to be next year either. So brace yourself. This is going to take a little bit.
It's just frustrating to see because, like you said, last week it was the penalties and not so much the turnovers. So it's like you think you have something figured out, and then it's something else that rears its ugly head. And that's the sign of a mentally, I don't want to say weak, but just immature team. Immature team, because a mature team doesn't let what happened last week in the second half happen. All right. And I'm just, while you were talking, I was looking at the box score. Do you know that Duke wins this game off second half points alone?
Oh, yeah. That's 17 in the third quarter or whatever it was, 14.
It was 21 in third quarter.
Yeah, 21. That's what it was.
I'm sorry, the fourth quarter. They scored 21
quarter.
points in the
Was it
fourth
14,
and 7 in the third.
Oh, 7. Okay. It was the second quarter where they got 14, right? That's what it was?
And the second quarter had 17.
Oh, okay. There you go.
So they
Right,
win
was
this
another
game in the
double-digit
second half alone, man. That's not Miami football. That's not Miami football.
No, it's just they don't have the Miami players, dude.
They don't have the Miami players. No, you're right. And second time this season, Miami gives up 45 points. In this game, I gotta go back and look what the first half stats were.
You don't have dogs in this team, bro.
No, you have some dogs. You just don't have enough.
No, there's only a couple.
You might have 3 or 4 on difference. I know you have 1, but you might have 3 or 4 on defense.
Well, Kobe's 1 on offense. Mesidor's another one.
Henry Parrish, I like.
I like Henry Parrish too. And why don't they play him more? That's coaching,
I don't know, man.
That's coaching. That I got to lay it on Mario and the staff. Look, bottom line, how do you not play Parrish over the Rooster anyway?
Well, I know Parrish was banged up a little bit. Rooster has been bang up, and look at this point, you have to sit him down and watch Kid. Like Kid,
But
sit down.
you didn't need today. You knew Parrish was the better back out of the two already.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
more
yeah, I
reliable
did.
one, the tougher one.
He was a different
the
type
more
of runner, yeah.
consistent one.
Yeah.
Can you say anything bad about Henry Parrish?
Not yet. Not yet. I haven't seen anything to make me say why is he on the field.
The ugliest thing I can say about Henry Parrish is that he grew up in Gould's. That's one tough hombre. That's about it. He grew up in a tough town. That's about the ugliest thing I can say. I mean, I like that kid, man. He runs hard. And then I look at the Rooster and,
So, where do you start? If you're Miami, if you're the coach this week, where do you start? Do you go back to basics? Because I'm sorry.
You have no choice.
But the thing is, the team, this is one of the things I was telling you about. Miami has been not great tackling this season, but if you're going to sit here and say that the same tackling is in place versus last season, you're blind. That's number one. It looked that way in the second half of this game, but overall as a season, Miami's tackling is improved. There's a lot more gang tackling going on. They're even somewhat better open field tackling, unless your name is Corey Flagg on obvious passing downs, which he shouldn't be on the field anyway, because first and second down, he's a great linebacker, and he's one of the better linebackers statistically in the conference, right? So where do you start? Are we going to work on tackling this week? Are we going to work on, where do you start? I'll tell you one thing. Ja'Kai Clark was an emergency center today. He was originally the starter to start the season, but entering the game, he was behind Jonathan Dennis. So you got to look at where do you start on the offensive line, because on the right side of the line, from the center to the right side, it's banged up. Scaife is not your ideal right tackle or left tackle. He's a guard. That's a guard. And so, the right guard position, it's a clusterfuck right now, pretty much. Yep. So I don't even know where you start. What's the game plan? Do you say, all right, Jake, we're going to give you more short passes. We're going to turn this into a West Coast thing, and then we'll dink and dunk down the field. I think there needs to be a lot more Ja'Carry Brown, all right? And everything that you see when he's in the game is run. So a pass here and there is going to be completely surprising the defense. I don't know where to start, and that's a problem.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you. It's definitely one that you worry about right now with this team, the way things are going. And listen, what it's going to be ugly from here on out for the rest of the season. It's just a matter of finding out who can play and who can't play. That's really what it's all about. Folks, we hope you never need life insurance, but when it comes to mortgage payments, child care, and other expenses, they don't disappear when you're actually gone. Life insurance, by the way, through your workplace may not offer enough protection for your family's needs. And if you won't follow you, well, then it will follow you when you leave your job. You know what I'm saying? So life insurance typically gets more expensive as we age. Now is the time to buy. And Policy Genius gives you a smarter way to find and buy the right coverage you need for your family. Now, Policy Genius, by the way, was built to modernize the life insurance industry. Their technology makes it easy to compare life insurance quotes from top companies like AIG and Prudential in just a few clicks, so you can find the lowest price. Now, folks, with Policy Genius, you can find life insurance policies that start at just $17 per month for $500,000 of coverage. That's amazing. Policy Genius, by the way, has licensed agents who can help you find options that offer coverage in as little as a week and avoid unnecessary medical exams. They're not incentivized to recommend to one insurer over another, so you can actually trust their guidance. There are no added fees, and your personal info is private, and that is so important. No wonder why they have thousands of 5-star reviews on Google and Trustpilot. So check it out, folks. Your loved ones deserve a financial safety net. You deserve a smarter way to find it and buy it. Head to policygenius.com or click the link in the description to get your free life insurance quotes and see how much you could save. That's policygenius.com. All right, let's go. Let's talk to Manny Navarro and our Canes wear. Postgame Reports.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where Inter Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
All right, we're back with our Caneswear Miami Hurricanes post-game reports. Oh, wait a minute. Jake just threw another interception. And Manny caught it. A nice job by you, Manny. Great pass there.
Hey, I had to jump in, man. I had to get myself an interception too today, man.
I heard Michelle Kaufman ask him, hey, can you assess Jake's play? Well, he had some good moments and not so good moments, and he just left it.
Yeah, pretty much.
I got to say, that was scary play because I don't mind interceptions when they're interceptions that somebody, made a really good play, freakish or whatever, but those look like really bad interceptions that you really weren't looking at the defender that was coming, because two of those interceptions, like they read it, right from the get-go, and he did not see the defender. In other words, they were like really bad interceptions that I wonder now about reading defenses for that young man, I got to say.
Well, listen, all I know is there were a lot of people who said Jake Garcia was the answer, right? Bench Tyler, this coaching staff has no idea what they're talking about. They're idiots. You got to put in the other guy. He's much better. This is why. This is what happens, right? When you get what you want, and so look, Jake Garcia, he's a talented kid, but you don't just come into a college game being the number 2 quarterback all week and all of a sudden come in and know exactly what to do. He'll look better when he's preparing as the starter for the rest of the season, because my guess is Tyler is probably out for the rest of the season at this point. But my point is, like, don't just think magic happens, dude. Like, guys don't just come in all of a sudden play awesome. And Jake Garcia might have brighter days in the future, but today wasn't one of them.
Manny, thanks for joining us, man. Nice and sunny where you're at, but cloudy day for Miami football. And so my thing is, where do you start from here? Because it seems like some of the things that were fixed, and I say that with not so much confidence, but for example, last week, Miami didn't have a turnover issue, right? This week they did. Last week it was the penalties. This week 3 for 30 on penalties. So it's Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. And then the tackling issues reared its ugly head again in the second half, I must say. And it just seems like everything fell apart at the same time. Missed tackles, interceptions by Jake, pass pro issues. And, I just don't know where to start with this staff. And to me, I'm a players play, coaches coach guy. They're making this staff look terrible. And I know this staff didn't forget how to coach from last year this year. So, where do you start?
Yeah, I feel like what we're watching is that cartoon, where the boat is sinking and the cartoon character keeps sticking his finger in one hole and then another hole opens up and the water just keeps coming through. Like, that's what's happening to Mario here. And again, I left this game feeling the same way I did after Middle Tennessee State, in the sense of there's something rotten at the core in that locker room. You guys listened to the press conference. I asked Mario point blank, did guys quit? And obviously that to me is the biggest reason why you have issues like this. The reason why you can't trust this team. When you're that mentally weak, when you're that mentally soft, you don't overcome things. You don't easily. This team is such an emotional wreck, and I think that third quarter was the perfect recipe for how mentally soft they really are. Mike, you get a turnover. You take the lead after you're down 17-7. You have all the momentum within 2 minutes. And what happens? You stop playing hard the way you're supposed to keep playing. You give up that 18-play drive, and you just fall apart. And you see it piece by piece how easily this thing falls apart, which to me tells me two things. One, you're definitely good enough to beat Duke. It's not a talent issue, right? You have guys that can make plays. You're just not mentally strong. You're mentally weak, where you run into trouble and it's tough for you to get out of it. And so to me, everything, whether it's penalties, whether it's turnovers, whether it's lack of blocking and protection, whether it's whatever, tackling anything that you bring up, it's a mindset. And for whatever reason, these guys just don't have what it takes to win. And by the way, this isn't a surprise. We've seen this for how many years now? This isn't brand new. Mario didn't introduce this to this team. They were 2-4 last year to start the season, right? I mean, there was a reason they lost some of the games that they lost last year. It's the same thing that's eating these guys up here. So, yes, they played hard for Manny Diaz for the last 6 games of last season and finished 5-1. That's Miami peak under Manny Diaz. I want to see Miami peak under Mario Cristobal when he's got his guys here.
Yeah, and let me tell you something. I'm a Mario guy. I'm rooting for Mario. I understand he doesn't have the right characters in that locker room. There's a reason why he keeps talking about mental toughness and fighting through all of this, because I feel he knows that in that locker room, he's probably had to talk a lot about that because there isn't a lot of mental fortitude. But here's something I can defend Mario in. Dude, why do you keep playing the Rooster? Why aren't you playing Henry Parrish? Why aren't you playing somebody else? Why do you keep playing people that are unreliable? That's the part I don't find acceptable as a coach. You tell me, before the season started, you guys didn't have access for a couple weeks. Everybody talked about no, we've worked on it. We're better off. Nope, that didn't work out. Today, he said, no, we've been practicing better. No, bro, don't tell me that. Then you're not assessing things the right way. Either you're lying and just blowing smoke up our asses, but when I see you play the Rooster over Henry Parrish, I got to question your coaching decision there on that one.
I agree. I mean, you can't defend some of these decisions. I think what's going to happen here over these last 5 games, and what I'm hoping happens, is that some of these guys just get run off. The guys that shouldn't be playing on this team and shouldn't be getting those opportunities. And that you start going with guys who want to be out there, that want to play for you, and want to perform and can perform at the level you want them to. But you're right. You can't defend it. They accused Manny of the same thing last year, right? Bubba Bolden, why is he out there? He's playing with half of a shoulder or whatever it was, when he was hurt last year. But yet they kept trotting them out there. At some point here, Mario's going to have to stand up and just make some hard decisions, bench some guys. And you know what? My feeling is this. If you got to sacrifice a season, I'd rather sacrifice year 1 than year 3 than year 4. Do it now. Make the cuts, the incisions now. There's nothing to play for. You're not winning the Coastal this year.
No, and let me help you on this. That helps you build your foundation for next year. So if you start playing all of these most of the young guys that they brought over are the ones making the impact. So play them all, bro. Get them all playing time this year. So that way next year, you're not breaking some newbies in. You've got some guys, they've got some playing time, they've got some experience. That'll get you better prepared for next year. I'm completely with you on that.
Yeah, I think it's time to start, making those kind of changes, and maybe that helps this team get to 500 and get to a bowl game. But at this point, I'm not too confident. That fourth quarter was about as ugly a quarter as I've ever seen Miami Hurricanes football.
Amen.
Did the coaches mention anything, or Mario or anybody, tweet-wise, because I didn't see it, about injuries? Jonathan Dennis looked to be going down, didn't look good, and that's a worry for next week because if Ja'Kai Clark isn't 100%, I mean, he played, but he was the emergency center, obviously. I'm not even going to ask you about TVD, and I can't remember who the right guard was that started today.
Yeah, it's Lawrence Seymour, who's a local kid, second-year freshman or whatever, first start of his career.
Yeah.
Look, you're scraping the bottom of the barrel here, right? You're playing what you have available to you in terms of guys that you think you can trust as far as blocking and protecting the quarterback. Look, kudos to Duke and Mike Elko. They brought all kinds of blitz packages, delayed blitzes. They brought guys from different angles, and they did things that Miami wasn't ready for. And kudos to that coaching staff for getting the job done. But look, the reality is, man, like the injuries and all that. James Williams, I don't think finished the game. I don't know. I didn't see him on the sideline at the end of the game. So that's a big time injury potentially for Miami. You mentioned Tyler Van Dyke. I think Dennis is probably done for the year. He had a big brace on his leg. He's standing on crutches. So my guess is Miami came out of this game with some injuries. But again, at this point, you're 3-4. What are you really playing for? Start playing some of the younger guys and build towards the future.
Let me ask you this, Manny. Is it a fate? And look, my expectations were at minimum to compete, maybe not win, but at least compete for the Coastal, have a chance to play maybe for Charlotte, in Charlotte. But is it a failure of a season to not even make a bowl?
Yeah, no question. I mean, with the team that you have, you should at least be bowl eligible. You should be relatively the same record as you were last year, which was 7-5. But, look, I was telling somebody else this as we were coming down the elevator today. What's the difference between 5-7 and 7-5 these days? It's a couple turnovers here. It's a touchdown there instead of a field goal. I mean, today, Miami was in control of this game for the first 2 minutes of the third quarter. If they get one stop on Duke on that long touchdown drive, does it spiral into what this was? Probably not. So, again, it's a handful of plays that separate being 5-7 or 7-5 or 8-4 or whatever. Like, there's just a couple of plays. So, to me, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Miami's not making a bowl this year because they can. But, I think if they can just get bowl eligible, you salvage that, you get some extra practices with some of these kids, that's really what the value is in the season.
I'm with you there, Manny. When you start looking at Jake Garcia, does he automatically start next week, or is there somebody else in the mix? Is the leash a little short with Jake Garcia? How do you handle that?
I think you have to obviously prepare Ja'Cory Brown now to really do more than just come in for a couple of plays, right? I mean, you got to prepare him to be ready to start in the event something happens to Jake. Jake took a lot of hits today as well. He was getting popped back there himself, so we'll have to see how he feels during the week and what coaches say about that. But look, anything goes at this point. All right, survive as much as you can, get the best players on the field that you can, and just try to win as much as you can. And if Jake isn't that guy for you, then you go to Ja'Cory Brown. You play the freshman. Look, Miami's got a lot of recruits in this next class that they really like. That Mario is handpicking these guys. He's recruited them for over a year now. So to me, even if they're just warming the seat up for the next group of transfers, the next couple of recruits, then that's what they're doing.
I got nothing else, man. I'm a pissed off.
I don't blame you, bro.
That poor guy, he's hurting badly, bro.
Yeah, I am. Tomorrow's my birthday. It just sucks.
No, it doesn't. Tua will give you a win. Don't worry about it. You can count on Tua. Don't worry about it. He'll give you a win tomorrow. I forgot you're a Niners fan. That's what it is. You're waiting for Christian McCaffrey.
Well, you got McCaffrey, bro. What are you talking about?
He's waiting for Christian McCaffrey's next injury is what he's doing as a Niners fan. Well, what do you got, Sean?
Manny, how close did you think Duke was to putting the 50 burger on the Canes today?
They could have. They showed restraint. They were kind of like that medieval back in the day, that soldier who had the sword in his hand. He could have chopped the guy's head off if he wanted to. They could have easily done that. They decided to put the sword down.
Well, there you go. All right, what are you working on in the Athletics so folks can check you out, my brother?
Hey, I'll be writing about the Canes this week. Oh, I can't promise you. The Athletic may redirect me now, man, and say, hey, we need you to go some other place where the football's a little better. So we'll see.
Oh, wait a minute. Are you telling me that in the Gridiron Roundtable on Tuesday, you'll be the UCF representative now?
I may be. I may have to start covering the team up in Orlando. That's what's going to pay the bills.
The walk-ons folks will be happy. They've got 2 locations in Kissimmee and Orlando. There you go, bro.
There you go. There you go, brother.
It's a beautiful thing. All right, follow him on Twitter at Manny_Navarro. And, of course, you can catch him multiple times a week here on the platform reporting for the Canes. And make sure you subscribe to The Athletic so you can always stay on top of everything going on with the Canes. Manny, as always, thank you, my brother. Appreciate you.
Thanks, all right, man. Guys. Take care, man.
Don't forget, Caneswear, you order over $100, baby, you will get free shipping. Yes. Over $99, you get free shipping. Go to caneswear.com. They got everything and anything with Canes logo on it. Brian Walters, thank you for the love on the super chat. And he put a sticker that says game over. Thank you, my brother. And Jose Lucas, he says, ready for Sunday Night Football. I'll be there chanting Tua's name. Good for you, my man. I can't wait for tomorrow. We'll start off at 6:20 in the evening to get you ready for that 8:20 kickoff there. All right, give us 2 minutes here. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back right here live for the MyEdgeDrink.com Miami Hurricanes postgame report live from Walk-Ons in Kendall.
You're listening to the home for hardcore Miami Hurricanes coverage. This is the Edge Energy Drink Miami Hurricanes postgame show. Live from Walk-On Sports Bistro in Kendall with Orlando Alzugaray and Mike McCoy on the Sports Talk 305 Network.
Welcome to Red Light Therapy, a revolutionary technology perfected by NASA to aid in muscle strengthening and recovery. Red and infrared light has the capacity to penetrate deep into the cell's mitochondria, potentially leading to increased energy, faster recovery, and the optimal performance your body demands. Train, fight, recover.
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
When you move, you need a reliable company led by passionate folks, eager to assist its customers during a transitional process that needs to be smooth. Call Essential Moving Experts at 844-368-5750 for all your local and long-distance moving needs. You can rely on Essential Moving Experts. Mention the Big O Show and get $150 off. Family owned and operated, they offer free 30-day storage, full-service moving, fully licensed, bonded, and insured. Moving was never so easy. EssentialMovingExperts.com. When you move, you need a reliable company led by passionate folks, eager to assist its customers during a transitional process that needs to be smooth. Call Essential Moving Experts at 844-368-5750 for all your local and long-distance moving needs. You can rely on Essential Moving Experts. Mention the Big O Show and get $150 off. Family owned and operated, they offer free 30-day storage, full-service moving, fully licensed, bonded, and insured. Moving was never so easy. EssentialMovingExperts.com. You're locked into the only platform truly dedicated to South Florida sports. This is the MyEdgeDrink.com Miami Hurricanes Postgame Show, live from Walk On Sports Bistro in Kendall on the SportsTalk305 Network. Here's your hosts, Orlando Alzugaray and Mike McCoy.
Here at beautiful Walk-Ons in Kendall. Come on out and join us, man. Right off of 162nd and 8 in Kendall Drive. And we're out here for every game. Next week, we'll be out here at 10:30 getting you ready for the 12:30 game between Miami and Virginia. And hopefully they'll have a better ending. But, hey, listen, either way, this is the best place to come out and enjoy the Canes game. You know why? We're giving away all kinds of free prizes. We've got taste testing from beer companies and Edge Energy Drink. We've got great food out here. You're in the AC. You can sit outside if you want on the patio, which they've got all kinds of fans and everything, nice and cool. And, of course, inside, this place is so spacious. The roof is like 30 feet high, so it's a great place to hang out. So come on out to Walk-Ons, 9065 Southwest 162nd Avenue here in Kendall. We'll be out here next Saturday. Doors open at 11 a.m. Would love to see you out here, man. Let's hang out. Let's have some fun. Is that a road game, the Virginia game? It is, huh?
Charlottesville.
Yep. All right. So there you go. You can't go to the stadium. Come on over here and join us, man. We'll have a good time and all kinds of giveaways. So unfortunately, Canes lose big, and they lose in many ways in a big-time way, unfortunately. Should John Ruiz ask for his money back from Jake Garcia?
You're a jerk.
I'm just saying, bro. If I'm John Ruiz, I'm going, wait a minute, man. I'm not getting my money's worth here. Okay, hey, remember, You know, back in the day, people used to get bent out of shape. Oh, don't criticize them. They're college football players. Well, they're professionals now, bro. They're getting paid. You know, they want the NILs. They want the attention. They want to be 4 and 5 stars. Well, this is what comes with the territory. And,
this is what I will say. And you can call it what you want. I mean, Manny Navarro had a point. You know, let's give him a start. Let's give him a start. Although I am not excusing the throws, some of those throws that he made today. There's just he knows better, because Frank Ponce, whoever caught him being
Ponce.
Jake Garcia.
It was Ponce.
When Jake was coming back to the sideline,
what are you watching?
Whoever caught that exchange, he said, "What are you looking at?
Yeah.
Like, where are you throwing to? Because maybe you saw
was
something that I
John
didn't."
from Edge Energy Drink.
Yeah.
He saw it too.
So it's like, what the hell? Like, listen, I just want these guys. I want wins, right? And this is the fan since I've been in the 3rd grade in me talking, and the alum in me that's talking. But sometimes it feels like fans care more than players. That is not the case. At least I hope, right?
Oh, I don't know if you have a team that really – a team.
And that's concerning.
Yeah.
That's concerning, because that was the whole reason why I asked Coach Mario 2 weeks ago about what does it take to be a Miami guy? Is that something that is either born with you? Do you have it, or you don't? Can it be taught? Is it something that you could pick up on when you're out recruiting? Because 50% of football is mental. You could look like a Greek god out there. You could run a 4 flat. You could be 6'2", 230. But if you don't care, if you don't have the balls for it, then you don't need to be playing football. You need to be playing sports, period. All right? And nonetheless, you want to know what I told Billy Corbin one time? Those 30 for 30 documentaries that he had was a gift and a curse for the program. Because now, after seeing those things, you come out and it's like, oh, I want to play for the U because look what they used to be. And I'm going to be this when I play for the U. No, but those guys worked their asses off. They weren't divas. I was also speaking to, and I can't name his name, but I just happened to run into a guy that's big time in South Florida recruiting. And you want to know, he told me, this was last week, a couple of days ago, he told me that the kids down here are so entitled, okay, because they play in the 305, and the 305 is a hotbed for recruiting. You can't tell them anything. And guess what the worst part is? The head coaches know, the high school head coaches know that those coaches think like that. Yep. So they're not kicking them off the team. They're not benching them, because if they do, those kids are going to transfer. So there's no accountability at the high school level. These high school kids that are 4 and 5 star kids, some of them, not all of them, but some of them will go into college and, oh, I'm not starting. And they're not used to working for anything.
Right.
They're not used to working for anything. And that's a generational thing. That's a problem.
And by the way,
go ahead.
No, finish.
I'm just pissed, man. I'm venting.
Well, Manuel Soto had a good one. He says John Reese should do something better with his money, like buy a Blockbuster Video.
It doesn't even exist anymore.
I think there's one left.
Really?
Did it close? It closed that one, like in Oregon, like in Oregon or something.
Oh, in
there was,
Oregon.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think it did close. But I saw like a special on it just a couple of months ago, like it was still open, like barely. Yeah.
Didn't Wayne Huizenga own them?
Yes, yeah.
That's crazy. Bend,
Oregon. See? Oh, it's still open.
That is insane.
There you go.
So what are they selling? DVDs? Like nobody buys. Like I don't get nobody. I don't have a DVD player in my house. Holy cow!
Or gaming or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's a relic right now.
Well, maybe in Bend, Oregon, they still sell VHSs. I don't know.
Jesus Christ.
What's that?
They're probably on dial-up too.
They have Blockbuster glasses there? Oh, I'm going to buy them. I'm going to buy a pair of Blockbuster. I'm going to go on the website and buy a pair of Blockbuster glasses. So I love it. The Assault says Oregon is balling with, Oregon has an established team.
Yeah. Their head coach took over what Mario
built. The Assault, what are you, stupid, bro? Are you like a moron or something? Of course Oregon's going to do better. Mario left it in a better place than what he inherited.
And there was a comment earlier.
The Assault, I wonder if you're Latin, I'm just gonna say, if you're Hispanic, bro, ¿qué clase de come mierda tú eres? Seriously, right? Tú eres first clase de come mierda. Of course, Oregon's gonna be doing better, you dumbass.
There was somebody in the chat earlier, and I forgot to.
And yes, we're happy with Mario, bro. We're not fair weather like your loser ass. You're the same loser that was probably saying Tua can't play. You're the kind of guy that I was talking about at the beginning of the postgame show. Way to tune in. You might want to rewind. It's just for you.
There was somebody else. It may have been Mr. Soto. I can't remember. They were saying that Manny's laughing his ass off. Well, Manny should be laughing at himself, too, because his defense let up 418 yards just last week. So Manny hasn't changed. And whenever he plays a running team, it's going to be the same thing. But
you can block the assault on your end too there, Sean. You could take his loser ass out. And we don't need stupidity on the show. It's all good. Yeah, no, I mean, seriously. No, Oregon's doing better without him. Well, yeah, of course, they should be. Once you say that, I know already you don't know anything. You're just trolling. So since you're just trolling, you can assault somewhere else with your trolling. You won't be doing it here. So anyway, on that note, we thank Adam Lichtenstein. We, of course, thank Lee Sterling, Manny Navarro. We also want to thank Jason Semino, the executive chef out here at Walk-Ons. Always good dude. Yanira, she is absolutely amazing as always. Joe, the general manager, he is an absolute ass kicker out here at Walk-Ons. We thank all the folks all of you that came out here to join us. Always appreciate you all and appreciate your support. Thank you for watching and downloading and liking and all that good stuff that you do here on the program. We appreciate it. We will see you tomorrow evening at 6:20 as we get you ready for a little Dolphins and Steelers. Tua is back. Should be a lot of fun tomorrow night here on the program. On behalf of Mike McCoy, the man, the myth, the legend that masters this entire platform, Sean Stanley, and of course, my man John from Edge Energy Drink. We thank also Brett and all the great people at Caneswear for giving us the prizes. Nick, Billy Perdomo, Nick Jr., the entire Perdomo family, Arthur Kemper, everybody out there, Perdomo, we love you all. So many people make it happen here every single time, every single Saturday. All our great sponsors that make it happen. Don't forget, go to myedgedrink.com for the finest energy drink on the planet. Use our code Big O. You will get 10% off and get it delivered to your home or office anywhere you're at. myedgedrink.com, promo code Big O. On behalf of everybody, we will see you next week as we get you ready for the Canes and Virginia right here on Walk-Ons. And if you're a Dolphins fan, tomorrow night at 6:20, baby, we get you ready for the Dolphins kicking some Steelers' ass. Y'all be good out there. Much love.
This has been the Edge Energy Drink Miami Hurricanes postgame show on the Sports Talk 305 Network. Live from Walk-On Sports Bistro in Kendall. The show is mastered by Sean Stanley and Chad Shope. When you're looking for the finest energy drink on the planet, you can only get it delivered to your home or office by going to myedgedrink.com. Use your code Big O and get 10% off an energy drink that's delicious, smooth, and has zero aftertaste. Please subscribe to our platform by searching Big O Radio Show on all digital avenues. On behalf of our staff, we thank you for supporting us. Have a fantastic week.